Okay, cool. We're live, and welcome everybody to the first episode of Downright Annoyed with Movies. With me, I'm just gonna enjoy. I'm just gonna, you know what? No, we're just doing all of it. Everybody, hey, why don't we just introduce ourselves? My name is Michael from the Downright Nerdy podcast. Thank you guys for joining me. Guys, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Jackson from Bored and Annoyed, and you're lucky I was fast. I was really picking my nose hard there when you threw us up. You got to give me a little more warning next time. But yeah,
this is the future to come.
So this is going to be a weekly thing, Michael, from what I understand, between us and Paul. Thank you for coming. But yeah, every week we're going to review a movie. It's going to be either one that Downright picked, or I picked, or the guest picked, or the audience picked. But don't ask us how we're going to do that yet, because we haven't figured that out yet.
We'll probably figure it out within the next hour or so, I assume.
Let's hope so. But yeah, again, Jackson with Bored and Annoyed, and go right now, open up another tab and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
Yes,
just
absolutely.
Bored and Annoyed.
Down below, I also put in all the links for all our shows as well.
Right. So make sure to go do that, because we're going to kind of switch this thing back and forth. It sounds like, I don't know. We didn't put too much planning into this, unfortunately.
I think we got too excited for this movie.
Right. Yes.
That's what I'm going to blame it on. I'll blame it on the movie.
But yeah, Paul, I guess.
Yeah. So I got to follow both these guys on Instagram, and then check out their stories and all that good stuff to know where it's going to be when. But yeah, the other thing we'll figure out maybe the next hour. But I'm Paul. I'm with comicbookinvest.com, and I do a Monday evening podcast, and when I can show up, with good buddies of mine, called Tales from the Flip Side, about 9:30 at night. So check it out. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
glad to be back. Glad some familiar faces.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of looking in the chat right now. We got a couple people in the chat. We got the Pinkies Out podcast. We got Z Collects and Tom's Comics, Books, and Movie Reviews. Thank you guys for stopping by. It looks like we got more than that. We got 7 in the chat, so some people are just typing shy right now. But yeah, so this first episode, we are going to be talking about a very unique movie. Jackson, actually, you were the first one to kind of to tell everybody about this, and to be honest, it just snowballed, and we just ended up kind of creating this, I think, in lieu of that.
Yeah, sweet. Well, hey, hopefully it's not a disaster. You know, hopefully I didn't start something bad. But no, it's a movie out of Japan. It's called One Cut of the Dead. And as far as a synopsis, the general synopsis on this is: things go badly for a hack director and film crews shooting a low-budget zombie movie in an abandoned World War II Japanese facility when they are attacked by real zombies. So that's the plot. That's the plot of the movie. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would suggest if you're going to suggest this movie to anybody else, leave it at that. Don't say anything else.
Now we're going to spoil it tonight for you.
We are. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's the plot. It is very unique. It was made for 3 million yen, which is $25,000 US dollars. And it premiered, I believe, in Japan, maybe in like 2017, but September of 2019, it came out here. And it only made like $6,000 on opening weekend when it came out in screens here. So
it came out to theaters here.
Yes, it did. I'm sure it was like 3 screens, but yes, technically it made $6,000 in theaters here, which is so funny because you think about all the garbage that's just like they're trying their hardest to make $150 million to just break, just to match their budget. So
how did it do in Japan?
Its total, now I don't have the breakdown as far as in Japan how it did, but its total gross was over 25 million. So it made over $25 million on
it. Made its money back.
Yes. And then some. Well, that's what happens when something's good,
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's so many like movies just like that. I mean, kind of similar, like all those found footage movies that cost nothing to make, like the Blair Witch was probably the first one of its kind over on our side. And man, that kind of almost created a new genre of movies, right?
Right. Yep. I remember when that came out, they had a crazy marketing campaign where like they had a website, they were pretending that it was actually a real thing. And nobody really knew because I don't know, it was just interesting. But yeah, One Cut of the Dead. I guess opening thoughts, Paul. Any thoughts on the movie in particular?
Maybe we should come back.
Come back? It's too much pressure. You don't want to ruin it or what?
I requested a refund from Google.
Oh, you did not.
Wow.
Oh, no, you did not. Okay, so I guess.
Did you finish it?
I got to 51 minutes and I started fast forwarding because I couldn't.
Oh my God.
So you missed the third act because the third act is where it all comes together.
Is it? It was just
well, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So Paul,
you're bringing it down to 99.
You can you can cut him out of the stream now, can't you?
I know. I felt bad because you guys loved it, and I was like,
"Oh, it's great!
Man, it's
great." But no, how about you, Michael? What'd you think?
Okay, so I used this hashtag when explaining this movie. I said better than Endgame. Not to say that obviously they're just two very different movies, and this movie was just. I think the reason why I think it was better than Endgame is because I was expecting Endgame to be great, right? And it was. And for this movie, I had zero expectation going in, and for me to have that roller coaster feeling of what the actual shit am I watching to. Okay, this is a little sad, but then it all comes back together, and I'm laughing, and I'm really happy for everybody in this movie. It was such a complete, beginning to end. There wasn't anything that made me think anything otherwise. It was just such a fun ride. That the very last that like I said, there's 3 acts to the movie. The first half hour, the second half hour, and then the third half hour.
Right.
Once the third half hour comes and you're seeing everything kind of rewind back to that first act, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant.
I can't think of any other word to use it, especially for a one cut.
Right.
A single camera, one cut, no breaks kind of thing. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, first off, my thoughts are the first half hour, like when you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, you start to realize how genius it is right away, because like, even that, as messy as it was, it's like, you wonder now, were these screw ups that are happening? Like, were they real or were they were they planned,
right, from
whoever made the movie? But yeah, I thought this movie's commentary on just filmmaking in general, art, what is art? It reminded me of, you bring up Endgame, it reminded me of the comments Scorsese made about Marvel movies and how it's not cinema. And there are characters in this who seem to be kind of poo-pooing on the genre. Oh, it's just this. It's just a zombie, it's not, don't worry about it. It's not art. But this guy who's the filmmaker, who's just trying to make ends meet and make something quality, like, it means a lot to him. And there was a ton of hard work put into what he made. And yeah, it all pays off in the end brilliantly, I thought.
I mean, the almost irony of this is that the movie is about a guy trying to make a 30-minute one cut, one camera movie, right? However, when you're watching that first and third act, it's one camera following this entire dude, dude with the one movie. So not only is it one layer on top of that, but then you're that third layer.
Yes.
Watching the second layer on top of the first layer, which I thought was just incredible.
And it's got, I love the characters in it. They all kind of, when they start to kind of introduce them in the second act, I guess it would be, when they start to kind of introduce, okay, here's this guy who's playing this part. Here's the cameraman's assistant. They've got his daughter has a crush on like the famous Japanese actor guy. And then there's the girl who's like a model or something. And, she doesn't, and he's also, it also plays with that too, because he's got to deal with all these difficult people as he's trying to make this movie, and he's just trying to hold it all together, and it's a pain in the ass. But I mean, now we're starting to get into mild spoilers, I guess. But yeah, I guess if somebody did want to drop out of this before heavy spoilers, now might be the time. But I don't know. I can't say much more about it without just spoiling the shit out of everything.
Paul, I'm curious, what didn't you like about it? Is it hard? I mean, are you a fan of foreign films in general? I mean, because I mean, for the longest time, I wasn't. I couldn't stand subtitles. I couldn't stand dubbed stuff or whatever.
I didn't mind that I couldn't look at my phone because I had to read subtitles. But I at first I was like, all right, it's just kind of like a B zombie movie. Like, all right. And then it shifted to like, oh, I have to watch that movie that was so again, like through the eyes of the second act. It just didn't grab me. And I was trying to figure out like what you guys liked, if it was the comedy aspect of it, or
funny.
I think what's going to happen is you guys will convince me to appreciate what the movie was, but I don't know if I liked it.
In all fairness, that second act, I didn't feel the way I did until the beginning of the third act. So up until the second act, I was lightweight, kind of feeling that same thing. But then I remember, Jackson, you told me like, hey, try to push through if you start to feel that a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
The third act is where it all comes together.
Maybe I'll have to.
It started unfolding. Man, I felt like I was watching David Attenborough explaining like a flower opening up. It was just beautiful. I loved it.
Well, it's just so genius too, because you're kind of watching the same thing you already watched, but like all of the shit that's happening in the first act, and just, I guess since we're in spoilers out of the bag here, the first half hour to 40 minutes is one shot, the show that ends up being made as part of the plot of the movie. So you start by seeing what the people in Japan were seeing on their TVs when they tuned into this show that this guy was going to direct. And the third act is basically, and it is all one shot. I do want to stress that as well. It's not like 1917 or Birdman where there's like fake cuts in there, where they simulate one shot.
When we say one cut, I mean one shot. It's literally they turn the camera on, they do not turn it off.
Correct. And it doesn't switch camera angles. There's no editing. Right. So all of the so the third act is basically you see behind the scenes everybody scrambling around during this 35 or so minutes trying to get this movie made. And there's all sorts of problems and stuff. And there's another line in there that's great too, is when the one lady's like the producer lady is watching it with the other, empty suits or whatever. And she's like, oh, it went off without a hitch. Yeah. And it's just like, you think about how many times do we not even understand what it took to make a piece of entertainment? And how many times do we shit on things that we could never make ourselves? Right.
Well, think about it. I mean, we do edited content on a weekly basis. Paul, you guys do all your stuff. What happened? I mean, in the editing process, how difficult can it get? It can get difficult, right? I mean, even just like all the research that we do on a weekly basis, that's like a minuscule amount of what a movie is made, right? I mean, movies take I don't know how many people take to make a freaking movie, but
I have a relative who does who has a small production, and he's just pulling his hair out during editing. Sound alone.
Yeah.
So you put it best, Jackson, on your, I think it was your top, you guys' top 10 episode.
Sure.
You said that this was a love letter to filmmaking, and you couldn't have said it better.
It is. It's a love letter to art in every sense, in my opinion, because it's all, like Paul is shitting on this wonderful movie. It's all subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is art, I guess, and why can't a cheesy, choppily made, not choppily made, I guess, because
not at all.
But a cheesy, it's just so great because like when you first turn it on, you're like, dude, I can see that guy's arm under his shirt. Like his arm was ripped off, but I can fucking see it. But then it all makes sense. I can imagine people watching. Like, I actually rewatched it with the wife, and she was like, "This is dumb. This is really dumb." And I'm like, just hang on. And she ended up coming around at the end, but yeah, it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful little movie, and it's crazy how cheap it was too. It's crazy.
So we were talking. I mean, obviously the two biggest like acts that really jump out at you because they're so difficult were the first and third act. I mean, they're essentially the first and third act is essentially the same thing that you're watching, just from a different angle, right?
Right.
The second act, though, I think is very underrated because it shows the background of like how the guy was chosen to make this movie, like how to choose the actors, his relationship with the actors, and I mean how his family, exactly, and how they actually ended up becoming part of the crew, and also how he ended up becoming a part of the movie as opposed to behind the camera. How he actually became the one of the main character director guys, and how he improvised a lot of that stuff too. Like after the relationship that he made, like he was what was he kind of portrayed as? Is kind of like a yes man for the most part.
Yes, 100%. He takes back. Yeah, he's fed up and he just had it. And it's funny too because when they start filming the movie, what's coming out of him in like yelling at the actors is real. You know what I mean? Like he actually is pissed at them because they're just such a pain in the ass to work.
He hits the dude.
Right. Right.
That was a great scene for me. I was once I found one, like during the second act when he after we already saw him hit him in the first act, I was like, oh, this guy has it coming. It's great, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like all those pieces started kind of falling into place.
Go Lions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. Go 49ers, Michael, by the way.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be a stressful day. Yeah. I'm already stressed out right now.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now I forgot what I was saying.
That's fine. Football came up. It happens all the time. This is one cut, though. We're not going to cut.
One cut of annoyingness.
But yeah, there's little details in here that are just great. Like there's the one actor who kind of lost his family, it seems, because he's a drunk. Yeah, the drunk. And that plays a part. And then there's the one guy who only can have, it's like the difficulties of working with these snobby actors. There's the one guy who's like, no, I need soft water. It can't be hard water or I'll shit myself or whatever. And like all of this stuff, when you're watching the first half hour, it feels like, oh, this guy's scared. He needs to run away because he's scared. He doesn't want to be here anymore. But no, it's just because he's going to shit his pants. Right. So like you find out all that stuff and it's so funny. I think it's hilarious. You know?
I thought it was incredibly funny. I mean, there, especially actually throughout, I mean, it's a different kind of funny with each act. Right. So in the beginning, it's cheesy funny, like, oh, this is stupid, but it's stupid funny, right? We're seeing a shitty zombie movie, right?
Right.
The second act, you're like, oh gosh, all right, there's some comedy, I guess. We were introduced to the actors, and then by the third one, this is like genius funny almost.
Oh, I mean, when the end credits roll in this, and you see like they show behind the scenes of the actual shooting of the one cut. Right? Because that's another thing is they must have had to reshoot all of the scenes after they did the one cut, because in the third act, you're seeing their version of the first cut. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't. So I think that they filmed the first and third act all as one.
No, they did not, because there's like because the cameraman, they show him running and somebody's running up and handing him a water bottle, and he's having to take a drink of water. Like the guy when they're chasing him to the van. Yeah, if you watch the credits.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, go back and watch it. It's great. So you see,
I thought that was part of the genius that they filmed the first and third act simultaneously.
No, so like the part where there's the one camera assistant girl who like really wants to get in there, and she's got ideas, and everybody's kind of like shitting on her, or the guy's like, no, that's dumb. We're not going to do like that Zoom. Every time when she wants to. Yeah. So like that's the scene one of the scenes they show at the end is him running and somebody's chasing him with a bottle of water, like, here, drink some water, because the cameraman, because they've got to be just dying. Whoever was filming that's not easy, you know. So he falls over and takes a drink of the water or whatever. But no, there was the girl wasn't actually there. Like, I'd be very interested in a legit making of documentary about that. I really would.
I would watch that, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
God damn, I was gonna say something.
So
go ahead.
No, well, what I was going to say is what's interesting is, like, what came first? Like, okay, did they do the one cut scene and then build the rest of the movie around that, you think? Or did they write the second act and then film the 30 or 40 minutes long cut and then do the third act? Or how would you construct this? Because I've got to assume that some of the shit you see in the one cut, like some of the screw ups and everything, are legitimate.
I would probably be safe to assume that whoever thought of this movie or directed it or wrote it, they had to have been part of, like, those like Cirque du Soleil things where there's literally no break. It's just one show or something like that. But then behind the curtain, they want to show you like all the right queer, like weird takes and like all the madness that goes on behind it. I would assume that this type of film would be based somewhat on that. So I don't know the order of how they filmed it or how they like presented it. That's probably how they pitched it.
I would imagine, I guess my point is, I would imagine that one cut take actually did not go off without a hitch. And what we got was, because, maybe they had to do like a few shots at it to get it right. But in general, I would imagine that somebody stubbed their toe, somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting to think about what went into this.
People have, groups of people, they have like these long, like memorized, choreographed things. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to do a 30-minute one take.
Sure. Okay.
It's kind of like, a high school play with no intermission.
Yeah.
Do it.
But you have no money. I can't imagine all these people are very experienced. You're running around. There's props involved. It's very impressive. And what's so awesome about it is, Paul, we can keep you out of this. What's so awesome about this is the fact that, like, this was my number 2 movie on the year, I will say. And it was made for $25,000.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Like, it doesn't, someone with an idea and some money, they can't, there's nothing to stop you, man.
I think what probably helped push this movie up to that ranking for you is that it was such a fresh idea, something we hadn't seen in years or ever. Right. Not to say like all those other movies that made your top 10 or your honorable mention weren't great movies in and of itself. It was just a really good year for filmmaking. And that's another thing that
was, yes.
Putting this up there with all those other films. I've only seen like a half of them, and I put it.
Well, and it's like, I love movies. I watch movies all the time. It's my favorite activity, or I just enjoy movies. And to see a movie about making movies that's like not arrogant or pompous, or they're not. It's just it was awesome to see every side of it, from the empty suit people to the cast, the crew, all of it, and they pulled it off.
I think more specifically, the crew was great, because like everyone, when they talk about making a movie, all you hear about, okay, who are the directors, who are the producers? You don't see, hey, who was the sound guy? Who was the dude that almost shit himself during the, it was really, it was neat seeing that, or having a focus on that for once. You've never really seen that.
Thanks, Derek. Oh, and go check out Poolside Podcast. Derek's a co-host of that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is what happens when it's on Facebook. It has a little F.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're learning as we go
We're
here,
learning.
people. Yeah.
You know, I appreciate the work that went into it. You guys are shedding some light on the artisticness of it. I should have given it the full time. I just
son of a bitch.
But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know if I don't know.
But I had a buddy. I had a buddy who I recommended this to, and he was messaging me on Facebook during it. And first of all, I'm like, you should be reading the screen, you asshole. You should be watching the movie. But he's like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden at the end, I get one that says like, this is a masterpiece. I can't believe like it does. It gets tied up. And honest to God, people can, the internet world can make fun of me, but I got teary-eyed at the end. Both times I watched it. There's something cathartic and like emotionally satisfying at the end when he pulls it off, and how he pulls it off with his daughter.
I think that was the best. I mean,
it's great
off with the daughter, because I mean they portrayed them as having kind of a rocky relationship, right?
Yeah, she's a teenage girl who's right,
being a teenage girl, right? 13 or like 16, going on 40 or something,
right? Yep.
So
Go ahead.
So when we get there, if not now, you got to shed a little more light then on what I missed from the third act.
So the third act is basically you see them make the movie. So essentially you're seeing, why did that guy run outside? Why did she have to do, there's a scene in the one cut where basically they're telling them with cue cards, like, kill time. We need you to kill time. Like, whatever. And that's the scene where she's talking about, hey, I do have a hobby.
Self-defense. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they go into that and you're like, oh, so that's why that was there. And then at the end, basically they have a big, like a crane set up to get the final shot, because the final shot of the movie is important because the whole thing was there was this pentagram drawn in blood on the roof. And basically, while they're screwing around up there, and the wife is going nuts because she takes her roles way too seriously. He didn't want her in the movie because she takes her role way too seriously. She was basically had to quit acting because she was too emotionally invested or whatever. But while she's getting into the scene, the crane falls and breaks. Earlier on in the movie, the dad was looking at a photograph of him holding his daughter up on his shoulders. So the daughter's like in the background saying, maybe we can still pull this shot off. And basically, if you don't get the shot of the pentagram with the camera on the crane, which is now broken, then the ending doesn't make sense. Like, that's the payoff shot of the movie. Yeah. So basically, she runs out, grabs all the production people and says, let's make like a pyramid of people to get as high as the crane was. And then he'll climb on top of it and get the final shot. And it was just great. I thought it was fucking awesome. I really did.
It was really neat because, I mean, you saw all the mistakes and all the audibles that they had to pull out of their ass, just essentially, right? To just get every shot the way that it was supposed to be choreographed. And there's a couple of scenes where they can't find the drunk guy for a while. So they had to like throw in some rando and put blood on him. And then the dude, remember the guy in the beginning who got thrown up on? Yeah, I guess he started going, he started freaking out because there's vomit on him.
Yeah, when the zombie, you think it's like, a zombie spit. Like, it's like, you're like, this is going to turn him or whatever.
That's drunk hobo throw up.
Right. And the director's literally underneath him, like, trying to get him in there. And it's
like, you wonder in the very beginning, right? Like, why isn't this zombie biting him? Because his head is right on his neck, right? And then third act, you realize, he's drunk, but he just is in the shot. He's puppeteering this entire thing, it's just the way that they do it without being in the shot.
Yes.
All the stuff that they do to try to stay out of the shot and make the shot work.
Right. And that's where I question, like, when in the third act, because that was filmed separately, I believe, based on the little making of thing at the end, which I can't believe you didn't watch it, Michael. But
I saw credits and I was like, okay, I guess it's done.
Hey, you should know better for this movie.
End of the credits. I don't know why. I don't know why I should have thought anything.
But yeah, during the credits when they're showing that, I don't know if they show that part, but I'm assuming that the director's not actually down there. It's just the guy acting. Like Because that's just one other thing that they could screw up when they're actually making the movie at the beginning. But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I could have answered maybe my own question if I'd watched the whole film. But when they were on the roof and he axed the one woman in the head.
Yes.
But then she gets up and says something.
Yep. So
she gets up and she's like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what happened there was basically when the camera turned to the girl, you know how in that part there was like 30 seconds where the camera was on the girl and she was just screaming?
Yeah.
So behind the camera, they were chloroforming the mother to get, because she was so out of it and whacked out and into what was happening that she couldn't, like, they couldn't get her to stop, you know? So they like chloroformed her. And then when she was on the ground, exactly. When she was on the ground, they like painted her up. They had to put the axe on and, you know, put the fake blood effects on and everything. But then essentially what happens is she wakes up and sees the people trying to make the pyramid so that the guy can get the final shot. And she just looks over and is like, what the fuck is that? And then somebody's like, no, get the fuck down. So she falls down again. So every single thing really that happens during that half hour or 40 minutes, it does like, it plays into all the wackiness that happens in the third act. Like there's another part too, where the girl runs back down the stairs from the roof. She hides in this room behind like some boxes or whatever. And you think a zombie walks in and stumbles in there, but no, it's like a guy letting her know, like he's got a sign. I can't remember what that, use the axe. Yeah, and then she walks up and she's like, oh, there's an axe here. Lucky me, you know? But yeah, it's
was that actress also the one that in the second act of the movie she says, "Oh, I don't do blood. I don't like getting stuff on me," and
she then didn't want to vomit.
She's completely vomited on blood.
Yeah,
blood on her.
Well, that was great too. Is like they all turned around for him.
Not
you know
just
what I mean?
For the movie, I think too, right? Yeah. Which essentially was for him. But yeah, they all. It's a great story of people kind of just, or actors, I guess, going past their, I guess, comfort zone or whatever it is that, you know, they did just for the sake of the movie.
Right.
And if everybody were to do their damn job, the movie would be great.
Yes.
Yes. This movie is essentially for all directors. It's like, hey, directors, if you can get everybody to do what you need them to do, your vision will come true. You know? Right.
Well, and even, I mean, oh God, it's just, I couldn't get over it when I watched it. Like I was so excited when I watched this. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Like it's that, to me, it was mind blowing. Like,
Sorry. This is another channel that has a weird infatuation with Perry comics. Perry, that lurker, he's a weird one, but this has nothing to do with Perry. I mean, Perry may come on from time to time, but he doesn't watch movies, so who knows? No, absolutely not. You can tell him I said so. Sorry, I had to derail for that comment.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more. I mean, I know we're only 33 minutes in here. I don't know how much more there is to talk about with this movie. I mean, do we have to
put this in?
I mean, if I'm telling someone to watch it, I'm telling them cheesy horror.
Okay.
But it's not. It's not. It's like it's a comedy, I say.
Comedy horror.
Sure.
But the way I sold it to a couple friends was comedy horror cheesier than Zombieland.
Yes. Well, it's funny too because it's a satire on zombie movies too, right? Because like you've seen so many of them, right? So you're watching it and it's just like, oh, it's another one of these, but it's just a cheesy ass one. And then it's like, oh no, but it's not a zombie movie. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know. Like my first thought was, oh, it's another zombie movie.
We should probably just start telling people it's a filmmaking movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a filmmaking movie.
This is an educational filmmaking movie.
But yeah, it is funny though. It's like the part that I like the most, probably in the entire movie, is what I brought up earlier. Just the concept of what is art, and it's subjective, right? So you've got that the Martin Scorsese character who's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just a stupid TV show. Like, we don't need that ending shot, right? It's not art. And then, but to him, it is, right?
Yeah, it's his baby.
Yeah, and to everybody else making it, it is. So, you know, what right does the Martin Scorsese character have to claim that it's not art? You know, so I liked that a lot.
Yeah,
but
What We Do in the Shadows, I'm not familiar.
It's not. I mean, that's a Taika Waititi movie, and basically the plot of that one is it's like a Real World, but it's a vampire house. So like Taika Waititi's in it. The other guy who was in Flight of the Conchords is in it. But basically, that is very hilarious. This is not as funny as that, I guess. It's a different kind of funny, but it's better than that.
This was
certainly better than that.
Yeah, this was more of like a happy funny for me. Like, you know, I was like laughing, but I was laughing at how good it was. It's like, I don't know, it wasn't there weren't like jokes and punchlines, you know.
No, but you're almost laughing at the cleverness of it in the third act as things are happening.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, that's it, and you almost like you're just like, oh, they got me there, you know.
But the whole third act is so clever, you're laughing through the entire thing.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
Did either of you watch it with someone? Maybe that's the element I was missing.
I don't know. Is somebody beating on their mic right now? Or is that me?
Sorry, that was me on my desk.
God damn it, Paul. See, you're just. Yeah, there we go. No, I watched it alone. I started it at it was a random night. I threw Shudder on. That's the horror streaming service. And I think I had seen like RLM or Red Letter Media or something. It said something good about it. So I'm like, what the hell? It's super late at night. I'll start it, whatever. And yeah, I watched the whole thing. I was up till like 4 a.m. watching it. So I was by myself.
Yeah. What was that spot? Because Shudder, what is that again?
Shudder it's AMC. It's technically an AMC company, and it's a horror movie streaming service. So it's just a massive library of horror, you know.
Okay.
I love it. So any horror fans out there, give it a shot. I mean, even if you're not really a horror fan, if you just want to see like old shit, they got a bunch of like Dario Argento stuff on there. There's this guy, Joe Bob Briggs, who used to host Monster Vision on TNT. It was like a movie host show where basically he would introduce the movie, and then before and after commercial breaks, he would come on and talk about, how it was made, all the actors, whatever. He's got a show on there, and it's fantastic. Okay. Just awesome. But yeah, I love it.
I really dropped the ball for today too, because I just realized that there's a couple of people in that are part of the Comic Core. They're a YouTube comic book group here on YouTube, and they a couple of them they used to do some movie reviews, but I for some reason I just brain lapse. I forgot to ask them about this. I'm gonna have to try to bring them in for the next one.
Yeah, I think everyone who really
like this movie is right up their alley.
I think everyone who really likes movies really should see this. I've been trying to get the co-host to watch it.
Has someone seen it yet?
What's that? He has. I don't think he's seen it. No. But he would love this too, because this is like, this.
Turner, did you watch
it? This like tickles the bone. What he's looking for. I would think that he would be really impressed with this.
Yeah.
It's the little guy artist trying his damnedest to get something done, and successfully, I would say. I mean, it went off without a hitch, right?
Without a hitch.
Yeah.
How about this? You guys want to pick a color?
I'm blue.
You're blue. Okay. Tell you what, since I'm Niner, so I'll be red.
Okay.
There you go.
Well.
Yellow.
Okay, so that means the chat, Pinky's out. Actually, I think part of I don't know who else is still in here. Pinky's out, Jack Yo, Ray, and if Derek, if you're still in here, yeah, I think you are. Z Collects, Tom's Comic Books and Reviews. If this, wherever this lands, whatever color you are,
green, right, would be the audience.
The green would be the audience.
So
yeah.
The first movie that's suggested after it lands on green? Is that how we're going to play this? How do you
the first. Okay. If it lands on green, whoever gets a type of movie in first, we all got to watch it for next week. And Paul, if you're able to make it, then you have to watch it too for next week.
Sounds good. From now on, whatever movie it is, I will watch
Beginning
it
to end.
all the way through.
Yeah, come on. You can't review. I sat through all of Gretel and Hansel last night, so you've got to be able to make it through this shit.
That's the first show. It's a Paul's problem.
There you go.
There it is. Shit. You guys have movies picked out?
I got one right now. It's right here.
All right.
I got one.
Here we go. Shit. All right.
It was you?
It's red, yeah. Fuck. Let's go with
Star Trek Nemesis.
Star Trek, the best movie ever made. I really did not come prepared for this. I completely forgot about this part.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was the first thing I thought
of the continuing part of this show.
Just remember, bad, good, what style? It can be a romance movie. I mean, you just name any goddamn movie you can think of. First movie that comes in your head.
Tremors.
Perfect.
Want to do Tremors?
Tremors. I mean, we don't have a choice.
All right, that's it. I guess
Tremors.
that's our choice. Tremors it is for next week.
All right, so next Saturday, same time we're gunning for, right?
Let's go for
7
the
o'clock.
same time. I as of this moment, I should be fine. So Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Is anybody?
And don't forget about us, our Central Time, folks, up here in Wisconsin, 7 p.m. Man.
Okay, all right. So the Central folks have the 7 p.m. Once again, Paul, where can they find you?
Comicbookinvest.com is the mainstay, and then on YouTube, search Tales from the Flip Side, and got a bunch more content.
Cool. You guys have that podcast on YouTube Live every Monday night, right?
Monday night about 9:30. Unfortunately, I've missed a couple just due to work, so I'm doing my best. But
yeah, they've been hounding you on IG, man.
Yeah,
all that. Better get your ass back in that seat. Jackson, man, where can they find you?
Obviously, boredandanoid.com. Otherwise, obviously, right now, you should definitely subscribe to my YouTube or our YouTube channel. Sorry, Alex. But yeah, Bored and Annoyed, search it or use the link down there. Facebook. And thank you for the Facebook peeps who hopped in. He has all the visibility, but I might run the ship next week. So I'll get to see, it'll probably be a shit show.
So if you guys want to see it for next week, it's going to be on Bored and Annoyed's Bored and Annoyed's YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to Bored and Annoyed's YouTube channel. It's down in the description below. And that way you guys can see episode 2, which will be on Tremors next week. And me, I'm Michael. I'm part of the Downright Nerdy podcast. Me and my co-host, assistant to the host, Riley, we do a weekly podcast on pop culture and just whatever's kind of going on in our lives, to be quite honest with you. It's very chill. We're actually just about to record our latest episode, which will be 49. And that will be all about it'll air hopefully tomorrow, right before the Super Bowl. It's going to be called what the hell did I title it? Hold on, I have it right here. Oh, I'm done. All right, so Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl pregame, and the Comic Corps powered by the Hero Initiative, where I get to interview Chad, one of the creators of the Comic Corps, and he gets to tell us all about the Hero Initiative. It's a great charity fund for.
There you go.
Yeah, it's really incredible. All you guys check it out.
Well, yeah. Hey, and if you are the only one who subscribes to my YouTube channel and you're the only one who's there, then the odds that you get to pick the next movie are better too, because yeah. So a low audience could be good for you, but go subscribe, please.
Go subscribe. It'll be fun. And yeah, next week, if it lands on me again, I'll be more prepared.
Sweet.
So cool. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Go Niners.